let the narrator read chapter 12. But we see right here again that David, he didn't go out to war this time, but everyone else did. They went out to battle. And while he was on his rooftop, he saw this beautiful, beautiful woman. And so when he saw this woman, he asked one of his servants who she was, and the servant said, "This is Uriah." He says, this man said Uriah, but I say Uriah. He said, "This is the wife of Uriah." And Uriah was one of the men that fought in the battle in David's battle. So David, he called and wanted to had Uriah, not Uriah, but Uriah's wife brought to him, and they slept together, and she became pregnant. And David knew that he was basically in trouble, and he tried on several attempts to make Uriah go ahead and sleep with his wife. But he refused. Every time he refused, because he was in battle. He was in the battle, and he did not, that basically was not allowed to have relations and so forth with your wife when you're in battle. So he refused, even though King David told him to go ahead. That would kind of get him off the hook to say, well, this is your child, and you slept with your wife and so forth. But Uriah did not do it. So David sent a message to Joab. Now, Joab was a commander over the army. Joab was also his nephew. That was his David's sister's child. So he sent a message. He said, you're about to go out to battle. Make sure you put Uriah up in the front, where it's heaviest, and he's out there, so that happened, and Uriah did die in that army and everything, and David called for Bathsheba, and they got married. She became his wife, and this did displease the Lord. So this is the gist of the story. Now let me scroll, and I am going to let the narrator read 2 Samuel chapter 12. Let me get it up here. Listen in.
2 Samuel 12. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him, and said unto him, There were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up. And it grew up together with him, and with his children. It did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveller unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb, and dressed it for the man that was come to him. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, As the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die, and he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, Thou art the man. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul, and I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore, the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this sun. For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel, and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, The Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. And Nathan departed unto his house. And the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. David therefore besought God for the child, and David fasted and went in, and lay all night upon the earth. And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth. But he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the seventh day that the child died. And the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead, for they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself, if we tell him that the child is dead? But when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead. Then David arose from the earth, and washed, and anointed himself, and changed his apparel, and came into the house of the Lord, and worshipped. Then he came to his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat. Then said his servants unto him, What thing is this that thou hast done? Thou didst fast and weep for the child while it was alive, but when the child was dead, thou didst rise and eat bread. And he said, While the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept, for I said, Who can tell whether God will be gracious to me, that the child may live? But now he is dead. Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me. And David comforted Bathsheba his wife, and went in unto her, and lay with her. And she bare a son, and he called his name Solomon. And the Lord loved him. And he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet, and he called his name Jedediah, because of the Lord. And Joab fought against Rabbah of the children of Ammon, and took the royal city. And Joab sent messengers to David, and said, I have fought against Rabbah, and have taken the city of waters. Now therefore, gather the rest of the people together, and encamp against the city, and take it, lest I take the city, and it be called after my name. And David gathered all the people together, and went to Rabbah, and fought against it, and took it. And he took their king's crown from off his head, the weight whereof was a talent of gold, with the precious stones, and it was set on David's head. And he brought forth the spoil of the city in great abundance. And he brought forth the people that were therein, and put them under saws, and under harrows of iron, and under axes of iron, and made them pass through the brick kiln. And thus did he unto all the cities of the children of Ammon. So David and all the people returned unto Jerusalem.
All right. Woo, this is a lot going on. We see here that the Lord God came to Nathan, and Nathan delivered this message to David, and it was said of this parable about the two men. One was rich and one was poor. And the rich man had a lot of flocks and herds, but the poor man, he didn't have much. He just had one little baby, one little lamb. And that lamb grew up together with him and his children and ate and everything. And it was just a beautiful lamb. And they loved it. And so a traveler came unto the rich man, and he didn't give his own flock or anything. He didn't do anything, but he took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that came to him. So he took the man's lamb. And so all the lambs and things that this rich man had, he didn't take one of his, but he went and took the only one. I'm going to the NIV now, so just doing a little comparison now. He took the man's only one lamb, didn't take his lamb. Okay, so to prepare a meal for this traveler. So when David heard this story, he was mad and everything, and he said, this man must die. This man was wrong. He took the only lamb the poor man had, and why didn't he take his own lamb? So Nathan said, let's see. Then Nathan said, let me go back to KJV, the King James Version. So after David heard this story, he was like in let's go back up to verse 5 here. It says, and David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. Now verse 7 says, and Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. And I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. See, when David said this man should die and everything, he did the wrong thing and so forth, Nathan reminded him, this man here that did this thing, this is you right here. And it says God gave you this and that and everything, of your previous master. He gave you the wives and everything. And this is what you did. You went out here, basically, and you took another man's wife. So he's making him see this parable here is all about him. It's all about him. So he goes on to explain, and the Lord is speaking on how David will be punished. And so David just says, wow, he said, I've sinned against the Lord. He felt really, really bad. He felt really, really sorry. And so Nathan was like, well, you won't die. You won't die. But the son that you all have, the son is going to die. Is going to die. So let me, I'm scrolling down a little bit. Okay, verse 13. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. So David, Nathan left. Nathan delivered the messages of the Lord. Nathan left, and sure enough, in 7 days, that baby got very, very sick. Then that baby got sick, and that baby died. But David, he fasted and everything and so forth and prayed to the Lord because he didn't want the baby to die. But when the baby went on and died,